I recently watched all of the Mad Max films I had not yet seen, meaning that as of now, I am fully acquainted with the franchise, and if there's one common thread between those movies which I find myself drawn to, it's the character of Max, and his repeated evolution from solo jerk to friend of the innocent. Consistently, the Mad Max movies have made a point of taking its titular character, a lone wolf beholden to grief and selfishness, and cracking his shell open, revealing his vulnerabilities and hidden humanity. As I see it, Max is a man who, through his various adventures, is learning how to live again, and this is a theme which all started with the Road Warrior.
And it was here, in this blighted place, that he learned to live again.
The Road Warrior does the work of defining Max as we'll come to know him in later movies. He's a loner, although befriended by a dog in this entry, who scavenges for fuel and is constantly on the move. He's a survivor, and not much else. He doesn't care for being bogged down by emotions, he's just here to fend for himself. That being said, Max is no savage. He's adjusted to the wasteland, sure, but clearly he defines himself differently than the raiders around him. He is constantly at odds with them, it would seem. But if Max isn't a raider, then who is he exactly? For all this time in the wasteland, Max has not joined ranks with the lowlives, but neither has he settled in with others like himself. In the wasteland, there are two types of people. Some people cling to law, order, and decency, while others, obviously, don't value such ideals as highly. In this dichotomy, Max doesn't exactly fit. He's not of the savage mentality, but neither is he especially fond of civilization or any attempts at remaking it. Max has had his fill of that. He just wants to wander, scavenge, and be left to his own devices. As a man with some morals, a life in the wasteland is a hard one. Yet, he'd rather have that life than one amongst a society of decent people. Strangely. Part of the tragedy of Max's character is that he fits in nowhere. He's capable, witty, and if nothing else, not evil. He would fit into a new society rather well. But deep down, Max is a good man who doesn't feel comfortable around good people. There's a scene in Fury Road where Furiosa offers Max to join her and the brides on motorcycle, essentially inviting him into their family, because by this point, he's earned it. True to his character, Max declines the invitation, stating that he'd rather make his own way. A similar interaction plays out in The Road Warrior. Once Max has helped bring back an empty tanker for the people in the camp to use for their gasoline. They give Max his vehicle back, plus all the gasoline he can carry, and before he leaves, he's offered a spot in their family.
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, but I'm leaving.
It's one of Max's defining character traits to be distant and avoidant of people. He keeps interactions to a minimum as much as he can help it, keeps relationships purely transactional, and leaves just as he came, alone. In Max's hesitancy to join the fold of any decent, orderly people with whom he could surely start over and begin anew in this wasteland, there's a true display of how trauma can affect the best of men. It's the most general observation of Mad Max that in the worst of circumstances, good men can go bad. But Max is not one such man. Rather, he is a good man gone, well, he's just gone. He doesn't know how to define himself. He hates society as much as he hates the wasteland. He rides the line, a formless and undefined wanderer, never exactly finding a place among anybody at all. Max is by no means a savage or bandit. Yes, he'll take what he finds and look out for himself first and foremost, but he's hardly a murderous or cruel person. He tries to save a wounded man after all, bringing him back to the people at the fuel depot. However, he can't relate to normalcy. In fact, he pulls away from it whenever it presents itself to him. If you've seen Mad Max 1, you'll know that Max is a man in grieving. Having lost his wife and daughter to wasteland scum, he underwent the drastic transformation into the road warrior who we see in the subsequent films. To this end, Max discards whole parts of himself. The father and husband in him is killed in order to properly numb him to this new world. Max copes, as many men do, by killing their feelings, or avoiding them as best as he can. The music box he discovers at the beginning of The Road Warrior is at first a fun little discovery for him, but as he turns the handle and gets the song going, it becomes too much of a reminder of his child and the innocence that was lost with her murder. And when he relates this music to his dead family, Max pockets the box and the smile fades from his face. Max's way of coping is to bury what he once knew and never look at it again, which explains why he always runs from the invitations he is offered. He has given up on normalcy and anything close to family, and to suddenly be offered that very thing is painful for Max. To exist in this demented world, he has abandoned values such as community and family, certainly fatherhood. Lone wolf selfishness has been his modus operandi for so long that he's forgotten how to be any other way. But a part of him wants that back. The music box does make him smile, after all. Despite his demeanor, some part of Max, even if only a tiny one, yearns for that pre-wasteland life of his, the life of a husband and father, the family life. Yet, at every opportunity, Max flees from his chance as if it will hurt him to accept. In this way, the Road Warrior and Fury Road alike show that once you've given up on love, it's very hard to go back. Killing it is far easier than bringing it back from the dead. Throughout his time on screen, Max's single greatest conflict, then, is perhaps nothing involving the wasteland and its murderous gangs of bandits, but rather it involves the two wolves within him, the father and husband he once was, and the road warrior who he's become. And in the Mad Max films, starting from The Road Warrior, Max manages to inch and crawl ever closer to that long-abandoned humanity. It's nothing he ever quite reaches fully, and perhaps it's simply impossible for him to return to who he was pre-Wasteland. However, The Road Warrior is a hopeful look at how these two wolves can be balanced. Max is by no means a perfect man, but in The Road Warrior, by finally choosing to help the small camp of people escape from the pursuit of Humongous and his raiders, the father in him wins a small victory. He has done something selfless, for once, contributed to the greater cause of other decent people, thus proving that the small shred of humanity in him still exists, and can still make decisions. Max does not go with them as they depart. He never does. It's a defining characteristic for Max to never actually join the people whom he helps. The Road Warrior in him won't allow it. But it's enough that he played his part in their escape. Even if he still feels like a different species than them and doesn't feel comfortable living with these normal people, Max has proven, as he always does, that though it has faded, the best part of him has not died. And despite what the world around him becomes, it never has to.